Hello everyone. I'm so excited to be stitching with you all today. For today's watch and stitch, we will be doing the third block of our 4-block tile scene. So I hope you are all geared up and ready to stitch along with me today. If you're not stitching, thank you for tuning in anyway to join us along the ride. So for today, we are going to be working with loop fringe. Now, if you're unfamiliar with loop fringe, it's a really cool technique. It's specially digitized by our digitizers here in-house. We create a large satin stitch, which is then anchored with a small satin stitch. And once you are finished stitching, you will flip your hoop over. You will take your handy little seam ripper and you will score the bobbin stitches. When you score those bobbin stitches, you're going to have this beautiful loop fringe that's created with that special anchor that is added into our step. So I will explain more as we go. Again, thank you all for joining me. It's super hot and sunny here in Charlotte, North Carolina, so I hope wherever you are tuning in, this sun is just as bright. Now, before we get started, I did want to show you a few of our blocks that you may have tuned in and already seen. So I know we had Melissa who did this fun applique, and we also had Brian who showed you how to do paper piecing. So those are two awesome techniques that come along with this watch and stitch. If you were wondering how you can get the July watch and stitch, you can either head on over to our website and type in watch and stitch for July, or our wonderful gal Elizabeth, who is behind the comment section today, will pin that in there for you or post it in the comment section. So let's go ahead and get started. So if you're stitching along with me, I hope you have your file loaded. Again, we are going to do our loop fringe. We are going to start by running our very first machine step, which will be the placement stitch for our batting, or also known as the squaring stitch. So if you are stitching along today, we are using a no-show mesh stabilizer. This is the most common stabilizer that we use for our quilt blocks. So I'm going to go ahead, run my first machine step, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. I hope you are all super excited about this. I feel like I haven't been behind the camera in a little while, so as you all know, I'm very excited to sew with you all today. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun. So as you can see, we used a periwinkle style color of fabric. That's gonna be the same base fabric that we are going to continue with today. And we have a thread break already. Just going to go ahead and back this up for us. Now, if you're just tuning in on July's watch and stitch, if you are unfamiliar with what we have to offer for July, we actually have more than one tile scene that's in there. I believe we do have an autumn one, which is super pretty. So if you head on over to our website, you'll be able to check out what we have to offer in the July issue. So if you're looking for more than just one tile scene, luckily, I think we may offer 3. Don't quote me on that one. But there are a couple options for you. So I've went ahead and fixed my needle. I had a little thread break. We backed it up, and we're going to continue to run our squaring stitch. Now I have some fun thread colors here with me today. We are going to be using a fun gunneled thread, which is actually now one of my new favorite threads to use. It's very sparkly, super pretty. This one is red with a gold sparkle, and I thought it would be super pretty when I was planning out the colors for our tile scene. Now you may notice that if you are looking at your tutorial and trying to follow along with the colors, we like to show you like a little bit of a different version when we are creating our blocks for our watch and stitch. That way you have a couple more ideas on what you would prefer to use. So I like to play around the colors, make them a little bit more different. In the tutorial you may see that we used a flannel fabric. For this one, we are using a red felt because I thought that'd be super cozy and perfect for a winter tile scene. All right. So now I've went ahead and I've only have run my first machine step, which is the squaring stitch, which is also known as the placement stitch for our batting. I'm going to go ahead and take my batting and I'm going to lay it over top of my placement stitch. be sure to cover it completely and run your next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch for your batting.
Why do you use mesh stabilizer? Elizabeth has a question.
I heard it. So no-show mesh stabilizer is a good stabilizer to use when you're quilting for your quilt blocks. It has that waffle-like effect. It's nice and strong. You don't have to worry about stuff popping in and out. It's super flexible and it's lightweight. So it's built right in to your quilt block as you're moving along, making sure that it's not shifting and everything stays all nice in the same place and lightweight. So that's one of the reasons why we choose to use a no-show mesh stabilizer. Now, if you're also curious what we are using today, or what size quilt block we are using today, we are using our A size. I know that's a common question that I usually get when I'm running the comment section for our watch and stitch. So just so you have kind of a perspective on the size, we are running with our A size today. And of course, my machine has not want to play games today, and it is continuously breaking, so I apologize for the thread breaks. You may see me fix those in and out of here, but don't worry, if we're on another step, I will be sure to inform you. So once we have our batting tacked down in place, we're going to go ahead and trim that excess material close to the tacking stitch line, and I think we're ready. Okay, so I'm going to hold this up so you can see. Hopefully you'll be able to tell with the camera. You can see that we have excess material around the outside of our batting, so we are going to go ahead and give that a nice trim. And you want to make sure that you're getting as close as possible, as this will reduce bulk in the long run when you have your seam allowance. We usually try to use a seam allowance of 1/2 inch, so this is a good way to reduce bulking in your quilt.
Janice wants to know what A size is.
So Janice has a question for us, and she would like to know what is the A size. And luckily I have my block here, which gives me all the fun information. So let me finish trimming this up. And our A size, it's always handy to have these tutorials printed out just in case. So our A size is 7 by 7. Our B size is, well, I guess I should say our A size is 7.7 by 7.7. Our B size is 6.7 by 6.7. Our C size is 5.8 by 5.8. And our D size is 4.7 by 4.7. Okay, so now that we have our batting all tacked down in place, we're going to go ahead and lay our base fabric over top of our design. We're going to be sure to cover that completely. We're going to place our design back into the machine and run our next machine step, which is the tacking stitch for our batting. I am going to go ahead and use that same color tacking stitch that I will be using for the stippling. And typically for our stippling, it's built into the fabric or into our quilt block to ensure that everything stays all together and nicely. And while it's in there, it's just kind of hidden in the background, and it makes it easier for quilting along the way. This is why we are an untraditional style of quilting, as our stippling is built in. So to keep it in there looking all nice, I'm going to make sure I'm using the same color thread as my base fabric. That way it's not taking away from the extra detail that we have within our quilt block, and it looks really pretty. So we have a question on what brand of no-show stabilizer we use. I am pretty sure our brand is Floriani. I will have to double check on the brand, but I do believe that we use a Floriani no-show mesh stabilizer. You can always check with your local dealer or head online to see other stabilizers that they have to offer, but I am pretty sure it's Floriani brand. I'm loving all the questions, so keep sending all the questions my way. I'm here to help guide you, and we're here to have fun too. Hopefully, if my needle wants to behave in my machine, we will continue to have a lot more fun. But I guess we will see how this goes. So somebody would like to know if you can use muslin over no-show mesh stabilizer. I feel like that was a little tongue twister there. I would recommend using a no-show mesh stabilizer. It's just really lightweight. It kind of stays out of the way. You don't have to worry about any of the fabric fraying or anything like that when you're trimming. And just to keep it all nice and flexible the way that the block is. So you can see here that like you can bend the block all nice. It's not crunchy, and it's super lightweight. I would recommend only sticking to a no-show mesh stabilizer instead of a muslin. Okay, so now that we have finished doing this and our needle broke again, I think we might need to change our needle. But we'll try the stippling and see how that goes, but we may need to change it. Probably due for a change. Okay, so now that we have finished tacking down our base fabric, we're gonna go ahead and run the next machine step, which is the stippling. Now this step may take us a little longer as there's quite a bit of stippling in our block, and since it's A size, it's gonna have a few more stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this. And again, I am using the same color thread as my base fabric to keep those the stippling in there, but not take away from my actual project. So while we're doing this, Elizabeth, do we have any more questions? Not at the moment? Cool. Okay, so I have a few different things to talk about today. So I'll talk about those real quick while we're doing this. The first thing I want to talk about is landscape animals. Now that is my flash sale for today. It is 50% off until Sunday, and it is currently $17. So I got some fun examples over here. So we have some fun little animals. It looks like we've got some bunnies over here. We also have a squid. And look at the bright colors in here too. It's super fun. And you can also see, this is a great example of the stippling. So I'm gonna hold this one up for us. Is this too close?
Oh, you're good.
Okay. So this is an example of the stippling. You can see that we used a fabric that had like different shades of colors inside of it, but you can see that the stippling adds a little bit of detail without the embroidery. So if you're looking to kind of blend it in like we did on the right, you can match it as close as possible, or you can have a little fun with it like we did for this project, and you can see the stippling is built in, but the color is a little bit brighter. Now again, this is our landscape animals quilt. This came out in 2015, but I did write down the exact date because I do know that you all like to know what all access issue this came out in, and it's September 1st of 2015. So if you were an all access member in September of 2015, you might have this project already, just in case you are wondering. But if you don't, it is on sale for 50% off. It's $17 until Sunday. And it's really neat. So we have this like 1950s kind of style artwork that we use throughout these blocks. You can create the iPad cover because this is a project. So this collection is a project, and you can create the iPad cover, or what's fun about it is you can actually utilize these blocks as they come. So if you want to incorporate them in our mix and match quilting, you also have that opportunity. So if you don't have an iPad cover and you're like, well, that collection might not be for me, you can also use these fun animals throughout your collections, because the mix and match quilting method is the best. And that's why picking out all these collections makes it more fun, because like you might like our parrot here, but you're like, I don't have an iPad, so then what do I do? Well, you get to use this fun parrot with some other animal collections that you like. So we have the parrot, we have our panda there. It looks like a little sleepy panda on a tree. And I love this one because it reminds me of a savannah or a safari. And so we have a zebra. So again, that sale is going on until Sunday. You don't want to miss out on that one. It's $17. And you can really have some fun with this. So I do not have any examples of this. I actually might have an example of the stabilizer that we use. Do you want to see? It should be over here in that room. Do you think you could grab it for me? So I'm going to see if we have an example of the stabilizer. I'm pretty sure that we do. Again, this is our no-show mesh stabilizer. I want to say it's Floriani brand. It has that waffle-like effect on the stabilizer, and it's just really great. This is the only stabilizer that we use when we are quilting. Ooh, actually, yeah. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to try to hold this up as best as I can. Now, when you're looking for stabilizer and you are, say you're looking online or you're with your local dealer, you may find that your stabilizer comes in a roll. Well, here at Anita, we do a lot of embroidery, we do a lot of quilting, we do a lot of projects that involve our stabilizers. So whether it's tearaway, whether it's no-show mesh stabilizer, we buy ours pre-cut. So when you purchase yours, it may come in a roll. So that's just the difference that it may seem between us. But I have an example here of what it looks like. When I hold it up, I don't know if you'll be able to tell like the waffle like effect that we have on that. But you can see that it's just nice, it's clear, and it's got a little bit of a stretch to it, but it makes it all good for your quilt block. Keeps everything in there, makes it all nice and lightweight. It's like you can't even tell the stabilizer is included in your quilt block. Ooh, so that is a really good question. We had a question here where they wanted to know, one of our lovely customers wanted to know if our iPad covers fit most iPads. Now, this is actually something I'm going to have to look into because I'm not sure on our sizes. Actually, my printout might tell me. Okay. So I do have the hoop sizes on here, but I'm not sure what the latest iPad sizes are. The hoop sizes for the landscape animals is 5x7 to 9.5x14. That's what's listed on our website. So I would say if you have an iPad handy and you have your measuring tape, I would see if those fit in that hoop size. Unfortunately, I don't know what the sizes are of the newest iPads. And I want to say this is probably one of our largest ones here. But yes, the hoop sizes are 5x7 and 9.5x14. Okay, I'm hoping I kind of answered your question. I know, I'm sorry, I don't have like an exact yes or no, but hopefully that'll lead you along the way. Okay, so we now have our stippling all complete. And we are going to move on to the placement stitch for our scarf, because that's part of our loop fringe today. So I'm going to go ahead and change the color. That way you can see where the placement stitch is. So I'm going to go ahead and swap over to my red thread. Now again, I am using a gunneled thread, which is super pretty. You can kind of see here in the camera, it has that sparkly gold in the inside. It's just super pretty. And in case you are wondering, I want to say the numbers on here are a little bit different. So if anybody's wondering or curious about the color, I can give you a couple of the numbers listed on here. But it is red with a gold sparkle, and it really is pretty. You may have seen this in our midsummer night tapestry. We used gunneled throughout that in the stippling to add a little bit of dimension because it was already such a beautiful quilt. But it did add a little bit of detail, which was the perfect amount when it came to the stippling. So we are on our next machine step, which is the placement stitch for our scarf. I am using a red felt fabric for this one. Okay, and let's do, why don't we do a gift card? Let's do a giveaway. So I am going to be offering a $20 gift card to anybody that says the word, or not anybody, I should reword that, to our lucky winner who will be selected by our dear Elizabeth behind the camera. So all you need to do is type loop, and Elizabeth will pick one lucky winner for our $20 gift card. As much as I would love to give away a million gift cards, I definitely can't do that, so. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead. I have my placement stitch all set and ready to go. I'll show you that here. We're gonna go ahead and lay our applique fabric over top of the placement stitch. And if you would like to, you can tape it down using, we do use a Floriani pink embroidery tape, which you may have seen Brian use in our last video. I'm feeling pretty confident that I will be able to keep this in place without tape. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna place this back in the machine. I'm going to lay my applique fabric over top of my placement stitch. Be sure to cover that completely, and we'll run our next machine step, which will be the tacking stitch. Now I'm going to leave my tacking stitch in red for this one. We'll see if you're able to see it at the end. But if not, I will definitely be trimming it out and showing you along the way. So. Yes. Okay. So now that our tacking stitch is almost complete, we're going to remove our hoop from the machine, and we're going to use a sharp pair of curved tip applique scissors. We're going to trim our excess fabric close to the tacking stitch line. And I will show you another tip along the way that is good to know when you're stitching together your blocks. So I am going to go ahead and start trimming, because I don't think you'll be able to tell on camera due to the thread being super close to the felt. So I'm going to go ahead and trim. And again, we're trying to get as close as possible. So our scarf is going to be sealed off by a satin stitch. That applique is sealed off. So you want to make sure that you're trimming your applique as close as possible so that once you finish your satin stitch, you have no applique or fabrics poking out of your satin stitch. Now I'm going to trim along all three sides, and the fourth side is the one that's already included in my seam allowance, and I'm going to leave that one uncut. And the reason why I'm going to do that is when I'm piecing my blocks together, I just want everything to be seamless. This is a tile seam, so I want to make sure that everything blends together nicely. So I'm going to hold my hoop up, and you can see here that I left this fourth side uncut. So it's going along with my seam allowance, and that way when I piece together my tile seam, everything will be seamless. Now, in case you've missed out on the few announcements that we've had about our tile seam, I will be joining you on a bonus video, which will be the last Thursday of July. So the 28th, be sure to look out for me, same time as usual, our 1:30 time. And I will be joining you as we piece together our tile seam. So I'm going to show you how to put it together. I'm going to show you how to back and bind. And we're going to have some fun with it. So look out for that bonus video on that Thursday. So you get 2 videos in one, which is super exciting. So right now I am running the satin stitch for my scarf, and I am following along with the numbered machine steps that you have in your tutorial. However, I did change the colors around for this one as we wanted to show you something a little bit different. The base fabric's kind of similar. Mine that I chose was like a periwinkle, which is super trendy for this year. But the one you saw in your tutorial kind of has an ice rink effect, and it's really pretty. So again, if you're just tuning in, we are doing the loop fringe for our watch and stitch in July. This is the third block that we are creating for our 4-block tile scene. You may have seen Melissa teach you how to do a standard applique, and you may have been along with Brian as he taught you how to do paper piecing. And we used a lot of fun materials in this watch and stitch as well, because like I wanted to bring in a lot of fun things. You're still learning your basic techniques, you're still learning how to do all this fun stuff, so why not add fun materials in it as well? So for this one, we have a really pretty sparkly linen fabric, and then for Brian's, I gave him a little lame with some twill, a lot of really fun stuff, trying to keep it all nice and fun for you all. And if you're looking for any other inspiration, we do love blue, as blue is a great representation of winter. So while we were stitching out our examples, we have a couple here where you can see. For this one, we used a blue corduroy. And for this one, we used a regular white cotton. So the last tile scene that you will have for us next week is Mylar applique, so you get this fun little snowman to come along with it. And if you're wondering what our block's gonna look like today, roughly, it's gonna have a finished look just like this here. Now, I'll go into loop fringe a little bit more once we get closer to it, which I think might be our very next step. Nope, we've got a couple more steps. So I am following along again with your tutorial. If you are wondering how you can get your watch and stitch for July, you can head on over to our website. You can type in July watch and stitch, or Elizabeth will bring it down into the comments for you, so you can click the link and shop. So we are just about finished with our satin stitch for our scarf. I'm really excited about this one because, again, this is that fun gunnel thread that I was telling you about. It's really pretty, and I'm hoping you can see the beauty of it behind the camera lens, because it just truly is really pretty. So here we are just about finished. Okay, perfect. Cool. Now I'm gonna hold it up here, and I'm hoping, can you see the gold in there a little bit?
Yes, if you push it just a little bit further into the camera, you might be able to see the gold a little bit more. Perfect.
Cool. Yeah, isn't that really pretty? I'm obsessed with the gunnel thread. I have been eyeing this thread since we used it in our Midsummer Night Tapestry. It's just like, it's so pretty, especially when you use it as stippling. But again, we used it for the satin stitch for our scarf, which is just another way of adding that fun, detailed element. Okay, so if you're wondering what I just trimmed, I trimmed away our no-show mesh stabilizer a little bit. I want to make sure that you guys have a great view of our quilt block. So I want to make sure that that's out of the way. All right, what do we have next? So now we are on step 8, which is the scarf end accent. And for this one, I used G3, which is a Floriani metallic. Now I know Brian and Melissa both talked to all of you about the metallics and keeping them in the refrigerator or the freezer. I don't know too much about that, but I do know that if I kept my threads in the fridge, my significant other would probably be like, "Why are these in the refrigerator?" And I'd be like, it's the sewing secrets. Like, so I guess if you put them in your freezer, they last a little bit longer, which is very cool. Now, I don't know too much detail about it, but I do know if you're looking for that detail and you want to know the tricks and the trades, you can head on over to their videos and check that out. All I know is it does last a little bit longer, but it is nice to use. So I'm going to go ahead and load that color. I chose this gold as it kind of incorporates with the satin stitch that I just had for my scarf. So I'm going to go ahead and run what is step number 8, and that is the scarf end accent, if you are stitching along with me. Oh yes, I completely forgot about our gift card. So we definitely have to pick a winner for this one. Elizabeth, do you have a winner for me?
Yes, let's do
Judy Delayet? Judy Delayet. I really hope I'm saying that right because I am horrible with names. But congratulations, you are the winner of our gift card. So go ahead and head on over. Do we post it to our?
Email customer experience.
You can email customer experience
It's coming up on the screen.
for your gift card. And yes, it's coming up on the screen. I could not remember if it was going to pop up on the screen or not. I'm so thankful for the lovely ladies that are behind the camera to remind me about the gift card. I just got so far into the stitching. So, okay, cool. So now that we have this gold accent, I'm going to take it out of the machine just so we can see where we are at. And here you can see this beautiful gold metallic. Now, if you really like this gold metallic color, this is our G3 Floriani Metallic. Okay, our next step is the Scarff Fringe accents. So I'm going to go ahead and switch back to my gunneled thread. This will be super pretty once we are all complete. We're actually almost done here because our main components are the scarf and we have a few larger satin stitches as well. So I'm just going to have to change my color. If you are stitching along with me, we are on step number 9. And this will be the Scarff Fringe accents.
What color Mylar is in block number 4?
So in block number 4, we are using a silver Mylar. I had to think about that for a second. I'm so used to planning it and then I kind of forget about it. But we are using a silver Mylar. We are actually using the same one that we used for this quilt block. I think it's super pretty. It's perfect for a little snowman. So that will be next week. And we will have that fun silver Mylar in there. All
Do you
right.
know what tips you have for using metallic thread? She says it always breaks.
Yes. So tips for using metallic threads. This is always a great question. So the first tip is if you have any thread nets. Thread nets always help with the guiding the thread as it comes off your spool. If you have I always forget what they're called, but they're little stands that you have and you can put it further away from your machine. So say if you have your machine in front of you and you don't want to rest your thread on top of your machine like we normally do, you can get these thread stands and you can put your thread a little bit further away along with that thread net, and it'll definitely help guide your thread through your machine as well. Luckily today, even though in the beginning we were having a few thread breaks, I'm so happy the metallic decided to go through. But sometimes when I am personally stitching out metallic, I will use my thread nets and I will also use that thread spool to kind of keep it a little bit further away, give it a little bit of distance. Okay, so now we are on step number 10, which is our lovely trees. So I am going to go ahead and use 218 Floriani. This is a really pretty green color that I thought would be perfect for the trees in the background. Whoop. And before I move on, I would like to show you the loop fringe technique that I was talking about, because this is a great way to show you before we fringe. And I'm going to fringe at the end, because once we're finished, all of our designs will be away from our fringe and all that kind of stuff. So we'll wait till the end to actually do our fringe. But I just want to show you the example of what I was talking about earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and pull my hoop out of the machine. And I'm going to hold this up close. And is that a good spot? Cool. So as I said in the beginning, for our loop fringe technique, this technique is specially digitized by our in-house digitizers. They are amazing. And it is started off with a bigger satin stitch. Now you can see that the gold is the bigger satin stitch, and then it is anchored by a smaller satin stitch. So if I can just lean forward here, you can see that red, hopefully in the camera. That red is what's anchoring my bigger satin stitch. So at the end, when I go to use my seam ripper, the only time we ever want to use a seam ripper, right? So when I go to use my seam ripper in the end, I won't do it now, but when I go to use the seam ripper, it'll loosen up my bigger satin stitch, which is the gold, and that red satin stitch is going to anchor it, so it creates that loop. It creates that nice, beautiful loop for us. So that is one of the awesome techniques we have at Anita. Truly makes for a really pretty project. If you've seen, I think it was our 50s Christmas fringe or Christmas 50s fringe, super cute. All of the 50s style skirts had all this like really pretty fringe in there. We used some bright retro colors. It was really pretty. So I am going to go ahead and place this back in the machine, and when we get back to the fringing aspect, we can talk about that a little bit more into detail. Our next machine step is number 10 if you're following along. I am using color 218 in Floriani for my trees, and we'll go ahead and run it.
What's the needle size that you're using?
So for today's stitch out, I am using a 75 by 11 needle. Now the needle can vary if you're using a metallic thread. I don't know offhand what the size of that needle is if you are looking to like run more metallics. So that would be something I'd have to get back to you on if you're thinking about a metallic thread, but it is working pretty well with a 75 by 11. So for today's tutorial, that's the only size needle I will use for the project. Great question. Let's see here. So again, I want to bring up my flash sale one more time for us while we're here. And you all have had some great questions, so please keep sending them my way, and I will try my absolute best to answer them as best as possible. So for today's flash sale, we are having landscape animals. Now, if you were an All Access member in September of 2015, you may already have this project. However, if you weren't and you're new or you just don't have it, this is on sale for $17 until Sunday. Now, what's cool about this is it's part of our projects. It's a embroidery project, a quilting project, and basically we have curated this project so that we could make iPad covers. Now, the great thing about it is if you don't have an iPad cover or you don't have an iPad and you're just looking to have this like fun stuff that's listed in this collection, you can actually use your quilt blocks using our mix and match quilting method to incorporate these quilt blocks into any other collection that you really desire. So you will get in your tutorial how to create an iPad cover, and then you will also have all these awesome designs inside. So we have a zebra, we have it looks kind of like a sleepy panda over here. We have our parrot design, which is super cute. And we also have bunnies and this squid. I like the colors in this one a lot. But we use a lot of really fun fabrics for this. And somebody asked me this earlier, which was a great question. I'm not sure if it fits all iPads, so you would have to measure your iPad to figure out if it fits best for you. But our hoop sizes for the landscape animals was 5 by 7 and 9.5 by 14. So yeah. It's a really cool project, and if you're not into an iPad cover, then it's really cool to add to your quilts. And I also see a beach flamingo in here, which is really pretty. I wish we had a sample of that one because it's super cute. But that is just a small snippet of what we have to offer for that collection. So if you head on over to our website, you can check that out. Or if you would like a flash sale link, Elizabeth will put that in the comments for you. And again, it's $17 until Sunday. So you don't want to miss out on this awesome deal. Okay, our next step is number 11. This is going to be the ground and the sky swirls and snowflake. So for this one, I picked a navy, which I believe we actually used a navy within the actual collection. This will look really good against the periwinkle, and it's a little bit different because why not have fun with it? So I am going to go ahead and swap colors. And for this one, we are using 358 Floriani. It is this beautiful navy color. Now this step has a bigger satin stitch, so it may take us a little bit longer. I'm gonna say, why don't we do another giveaway? So I promise I'm going to remember this time. I won't have to have these lovely ladies behind the camera remind me. I got this. So we are going to use the color, let's put navy, because that's the color we're using. So comment down below navy, and we'll see who is our lucky winner for an Anita gift card. And let's do a $25 gift card. How about that? Okay, just switching my thread. Okay. Now again, this is step 11, which is the ground, the sky swirls, and a snowflake. Now I have some other information to share with you all. I'm sure you have seen it. We have a sale going on right now, which is 50% off our holiday, seasonal, and Christmas collections. So you have until July 31st to shop all of that fun stuff. And I have a few examples over here. So here we have Trapunto Christmas, which is super cute. And look at it, it has like this free motion border blocks that go along with it. This is a really cute style of quilting that uses one color. It has that bulkier style built within it. And this is just one of the cute little Christmas collections that you can find on our website. It's super cute. We got a little Santa sleigh, and we have a little teddy bear. So this is just one Christmas collection that we offer. We have a ton of Christmas stuff on our site. So make sure to check that out. Let's see what else we have here. Old Times Christmas. Now this was released in looks like May of 2016, and this is another good example of using that metallic thread. And again, we mainly use a Floriani metallic here at Anita, and you can see we are actually using some of those colors today. So that nice pretty gold you're seeing, I guarantee you that is our G3 Floriani, which is super nice when it comes out. It's gonna look really pretty as our scarf accent, but this is just another example of a collection that you can find for 50% off until July 31st. So you don't wanna miss out on that. Now, while that is still running, we have another deal going on right now. We have the Greatest Hits Christmas Edition. Now there's a lot of fun stuff jam-packed in this awesome physical copy, hard copy book. I know, it's crazy. So there's a lot of really cool stuff in here. There's 6 favorite Christmas collections listed throughout this tutorial. You're gonna see a lot of fun stuff in there. You may catch a couple videos. I might be in one of those videos teaching you how to stitch together a few things. You're gonna get all the design files, you're gonna get step-by-step instructions, and it's gonna be included in a physical hard copy book. Now I have an example here, but this is just an example because we do not have a hard copy in yet, as they are still on pre-order. So you can pre-order that, the Greatest Hits Christmas Edition, for $175 today. Today, all I have is my printer paper, but that's fine because we are excited and ready to see the final physical hardcover copy. But for today, I have this in front of me. You can see how thick it is. Like, look how awesome this is. So again, this is just our printer paper. You guys will all be getting a hardcover physical copy of your book, and it comes with a lot of really fun stuff just in time for Christmas. We've had a lot of fun putting this together, and what's even better is if you love this Christmas edition, we have much more greatest hits coming your way. Now again, these are some good fan favorites that we've put together all in one, which is a nice bundle for you to enjoy. And again, this is on pre-sale, pre-order for $175. So if you want this amazing book, again, this is just our printer paper. You will have a beautiful hard copy, physical copy book coming your way if you would like to pre-order that on our website for $175. Okay, so we are now moving on to one of our last accents. We have 2 more steps to go, and then I know you are all so sad to leave me, but we have 2 steps. So the next step is going to be G27, which is, I feel like I'm playing bingo. G27. So our next step is going to be this G27, which is also a Floriani metallic thread. And while that is running, I'm sure I didn't forget. I know Elizabeth has a winner for me for that $25 Anita gift card.
We sure do, and our winner this time is Wendy Fryer.
Wendy Fryer, congratulations! We'll have everything on the screen for you. You can contact our customer experience team. Wonderful gals behind our customer experience team that will help you get your $25 gift card. Congratulations, Wendy. Okay, so we are on step 12, and like I said before, I'm using G27, which is a Floriani metallic, and we're going to be doing our swirl accents and snowflakes. Now again, just in case you just clicked on this video, we are doing our loop fringe technique for our 3rd block of our 4-block tile scene. This is for July Watch and Stitch, which you can find on our website for $30. And it comes with more than 1 tile scene. I know there's an autumn one, but I'm not sure what the other one is. But super cute. Oops, wrong button. Okay, cool. So we have only 2 more accents left. I've given you all some really good things to think about, especially if you're thinking about our Christmas edition. It does come with 6 of our fan favorite Christmas collections, plus 1 exclusive collection as well, festive fonts. So you're gonna have a lot of fun with this one. It is truly awesome. And I can pull this little book back up again. I can't express this enough. When you get your Greatest Hits Christmas edition, you are getting some awesome designs. It's a $600 value, and it's packed in a 296-page hardcover book. And if you pre-order it, you will get it for $175. So you're getting 6 amazing collections, 1 bonus collection, and a lot of fun Christmas stuff that'll get you all geared up and ready for the holiday season. Because I know I'm already stressing about Christmas gifts. I always say I'm going to start early, and then I just wait till the last minute. So now, with this, you'll have everything that you need to get ready for the holiday season, whether that's your decor, and all that other fun stuff. We've got a votive in here, which is really cool, and we also have a pot holder. So yeah, we have a lot of really, really cool things coming your way. Don't forget to head on over to our website, give this book bundle a good look. Again, it's a hardcover copy. It comes with almost 300 pages. It's at a $600 retail value, and you could get this for $175 at pre-order. And again, I am just sadly using our paper copy, but you will be receiving a physical hard copy book. And if you enjoy our greatest hits, we do have more in the future coming your way, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Wow, we are almost done here. We have a few more embroidery steps to go. If you're still sticking along with me, Thank you for joining me on this journey. Don't forget to like this video if you had fun with me today, or if you just love embroidery in general. Liking this video really helps us along the way. And don't forget, there's a little butterfly on the bottom right-hand corner of this video. If you hover over that butterfly, you can easily subscribe to our YouTube channel. Once you subscribe to our YouTube channel, tap that bell notification so that you can get notified every time we post. That way, you never miss a beat here at Anita Goodesign. So we are just about finished with step number 12. Our next step will be G3. And then I get to show you the awesome fringe technique. So I'm really hoping you stayed around so that we can have some fun with our seam ripper. Now, this is the only time I like to use seam ripper. I went to fashion school in college, and I had to use this thing a lot. And I hate the seam ripper, but I love the seam ripper when it comes to loop fringe because we're gonna have some fun with it. So we just have a couple more steps, and we will go to our loop fringe. And while I have this over here, I can kind of show you as well. This blue is another example of the loop fringe that we have. And let's see, I'll have Julia Page give me the go if it's good to see on camera.
Just forward just a little bit more. Yep.
Cool.
Looks good.
Perfect. So yeah, you can kind of see, I'll bend it here a little bit and I'll put my hand behind it. You can see that it has that really pretty fringe look, but it has little loops all the way across thanks to that tiny satin stitch that was the anchor for our big satin stitch. So once we get to that point, which I'm excited for because we are using metallic and your girl loves a sparkly thread or a shiny thread. So we are on our last machine step. Nope, just kidding. We still have a few stitches to go. Do we have questions? Ooh, yes. Yes. So the cool thing about the loop fringe is it is washable. So the question was, are loop fringe projects washable? And yes, the cool part about it is that tiny little satin stitch, I call it tiny, but it's probably about like 1/4 of an inch. It creates a really good anchor. So these are really in there. So I'm pulling pretty hard on these and they're not popping out. So this definitely would help when you're washing your material. The only thing that I recommend is that anytime you're washing your projects, there's always wear and tear. So depending on how often you plan on washing your projects, you might want to hand wash these projects just to savor it from that wear and tear with your washing machine and all that fun stuff. Because, you know, just like fraying and denim and all that kind of stuff, you know, thread can get damaged over time, especially when we continue to wash it. So you'll just want to be careful when you're washing it, but the loop fringe is definitely in there. That anchor stitch, that anchor satin stitch is really nice, and it's sure to hold it up. So I think you should be perfectly fine putting it in the washer, but as I said before, you just might want to be a little bit careful how many times you are washing it, as all that wear and tear on your quilt or whatever you decide to put your loop fringe project on. Wow. Good question. Do we have any more? Okay. I am going to run our last step and then I will show you our fringe technique. Hopefully you've stayed around for the ride. Hopefully you're having fun, and hopefully it's nice and sunny wherever you may be, because it is definitely hot here. Okay, cool. So we covered a lot of things. Here's a really fast recap. Don't forget, flash sale, $17 until Sunday. That is Landscaped Animals. It is an iPad. Wow, iPods. It is an iPad cover. That just threw me back to like nostalgic memories. It is an iPad cover that can also be used in our mix and match quilting method. So if you're not into iPads, you may be into using the mix and match quilting method. So if you don't want to utilize the project format, you can definitely incorporate it in other collections. So don't forget Landscape Animals. It came out in 2015 of September, and that is $17 until Sunday. If you're interested in all of the fun holiday, seasonal, and Christmas stuff that we have to offer, we are running a sale until the end of the month, which is July 31st, and that is 50% off all of those collections. So you have amazing deals going on right now that you don't want to miss out on. And don't forget about our greatest hits pre-order, because that's always good. Okay. Did you find it? Question? Yes.
Tracy wants to know if you can still wash it when you added Mylar to the fourth block.
Yes, so you can. So here, the cool part about this, and the question was, can you wash Mylar once you've added it to the block? So the cool part about Mylar is when you are stitching your Mylar down, there is a fill stitch. It's not like a full fill stitch like you may see when we do like our shading on certain things. When I'm trying to think of what a good example of our fill stitch would be. Let's pull this up here. Okay, yeah. So you can see in this quilt that there's kind of like a fill stitch down here in this corner. Is this a good spot to see the down here with the flower? You can kind of see that that's what like a fill stitch would be. But for our Mylar, it's kind of like the way it's stitched is like a fill stitch, but it doesn't cover the Mylar completely, but it holds the Mylar in place and allows it to not get damaged or ruined within the process. So just like your loop fringe, you can wash this. I just recommend that you're doing it like gently. You may want to consider even hand washing it when it comes to it, but our Mylar is secured by this fill-like stitch, and a satin stitch is securing your applique. So you should be good along the washing process, but just like any of your projects, you may want to be a little bit more extra gentle when it comes to washing your stuff. Okay, cool. So we just finished our block, and I'm going to show you one more time. So before we hop over to the loop fringe, you can see we have a gold thick satin stitch, and it's anchored down by the red smaller satin stitch. Now this is specially digitized, so you may see fringe throughout some of our other projects, but if you're looking for that loop effect, you will want to look for loop fringe in general, because that smaller satin stitch is what's anchoring down our big satin stitch, and it's specially digitized. So if you don't see loop fringe throughout the collection, you may want to be careful, because if you slice any of your bobbin stitching, you could end up with it just unraveling and fraying. Like as I said before, this is anchored down, specially digitized by our awesome in-house artists. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip my hoop over, and our awesome Julie Page behind the camera is going to get a good look at what we have here. So I want to get a really good view of this, so you get a really good idea of loop fringe. Good? Okay. So as you can see here, we have our big satin stitch, and down here you have your smaller satin stitch. Now you don't want to use your seam ripper on the smaller satin stitch. As I said before, this is the anchor. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your seam ripper, and you're going to go in between here and just slice your bobbin stitching. You want to make sure you're just catching the bobbin underneath. And we're going to go all the way through to the other end. Just be careful when you're doing it. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to like make sure you're poking through any more of your project. So all I did was slice in between the top of the larger satin stitch and the bottom portion of the large satin stitch. And what we're slicing with our seam ripper is that bobbin. So once you've done that, we're going to flip it over. And you can use your seam ripper again to like move the thread around. If you spread your seam ripper across. It'll help bring the loop up. Oops. And you can also use your finger too as well. But you just want to be a little gentle with it, get it up there. And again, this will help you, this satin stitch down here will help you secure it in place.
Where's the best place to get Mylar?
So our question was, where's the best place to get Mylar? I believe we just order our Mylar in bundles offline. I don't know of any specific place in general, but you can get Mylar from pretty much any location. If you head on over to Google, you can get your Mylar from there. You can also use Mylar balloons too, which is also fun in case you wanted to add a fun print along with your stuff. I've seen people recommend going to the Dollar Tree. They're always out of helium these days, so they definitely don't need their Mylar balloons. But you can head on over there, and you can always find like little bits of Mylar to use when asking them about their balloons and stuff. But I think you can just head on over to Google and just search that, and you should be able to find any sort of spot really. We just buy ours in bundles. I'm not entirely sure what the name of the place is, but I can definitely get back to you on that one. All right. And now you can see that there's this fun loop fringe all ready to go. And it makes it look so cute. It adds extra dimension to the quilt. It adds extra dimension to the scarf. And it just looks really pretty along the way. Awesome. Well, I had a lot of really fun things to talk about today. The very last step in this process would be to remove your design from the hoop. Use a ruler and rotary cutter to trim down to a 1/2 inch seam allowance. We recommend a 1/2 inch seam allowance as it makes piecing together your blocks all nice and easy. Don't forget, next week we have another wonderful educator here to teach you how to use Mylar applique. They may have a few more tips and tricks on their end when it comes to the Mylar, but you'll be stitching your snowman. And then that Thursday, the 28th, don't forget you have a bonus video with me where I teach you how to piece together your tile scene. So I hope you all had so much fun. Congratulations again to our 2 lucky winners for their gift cards. Don't forget to reach out to our team here at Anita Goodesign to get your gift cards. And I hope you all enjoyed this tutorial. I guess before I go, do we have any more quick questions? Alrighty, cool. Well, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.